Once upon a time, in a quaint little village nestled among rolling hills, there lived a soldier named Daniel. He had returned from the war with a heavy heart, haunted by the horrors he had witnessed on the battlefield. But there was something else that weighed on his soul, a secret that he had carried for years. As the days turned into years, Daniel found solace in the peaceful life of the village. He helped his aging father run the family farm, tending to the crops and animals. The village was a close-knit community, and everyone looked out for one another. One sunny afternoon, as he worked in the fields, Daniel heard a distant rumble of thunder. He looked up to see dark clouds gathering on the horizon. A storm was approaching, and he knew that they needed to harvest the wheat before the rain ruined the crop. He rushed to gather the villagers to help with the harvest. The whole village came together, and they worked tirelessly, racing against the impending storm. The wind picked up, and the first raindrops began to fall as they loaded the last of the wheat onto the wagons. Exhausted and drenched from the rain, Daniel and the others retreated to the village square, where they celebrated their successful harvest with food and drink. As the villagers sang and danced, Daniel couldn't help but smile. For a brief moment, the weight of his past seemed to lift. But the merriment was short-lived. As night fell and the villagers retired to their homes, Daniel was haunted by a vivid dream. In his dream, he found himself back on the battlefield, surrounded by chaos and death. The memories he had tried to bury came rushing back, and he woke up in a cold sweat. Unable to sleep, he decided to take a walk to clear his mind. He strolled through the dark, silent streets of the village until he reached the village cemetery. It was there that he saw a familiar name on one of the tombstones, his own. His heart pounded in his chest as he stared at the gravestone that bore his name and the date of his death, a date that corresponded with his supposed death on the battlefield. Confusion and fear swirled within him. He reached out to touch the cold stone, and it sent a shock of electricity through his body. His heart pounded in his chest as he stared at the gravestone that bore his name and the date of his death, a date that corresponded with his supposed death on the battlefield. Confusion and fear swirled within him. He reached out to touch the cold stone, and it sent a shock of electricity through his body. Suddenly, he remembered the secret he had been carrying for so long. The day he had died on the battlefield, he had been part of a covert military experiment, a project to create super soldiers. The project had gone terribly wrong, and he was the only survivor. They had erased his identity, faked his death, and left him to live out the rest of his days in anonymity. As the realization hit him like a thunderbolt, he felt like a ghost in his own life. He was a soldier who had died twice, once on the battlefield and once when he lost his true identity. Determined to uncover the truth, Daniel began to investigate the circumstances surrounding the experiment and his fake death. He delved into classified documents and sought out old colleagues who might still be alive. With each discovery, the web of deception grew thicker. Finally, he uncovered the hidden truth. The experiment was part of a larger conspiracy by powerful individuals who sought to use the super soldiers for their own nefarious purposes. The project's failure had not deterred them, and they continued their sinister plans. Now armed with this knowledge, Daniel knew he had a duty to stop the conspirators and prevent the misuse of the super soldier technology. He gathered a group of trusted friends and allies from the village, and together they embarked on a dangerous journey to expose the truth and thwart the conspirators' plans. The soldier who had died twice was now a man on a mission, determined to reclaim his true identity and protect the world from the dangerous forces that threatened it. As he faced new challenges and dangers, Daniel knew that he had been given a second chance at life, and he would not squander it. As Daniel embarked on his quest to uncover the truth and thwart the conspirators, he faced a series of personal challenges that tested his resolve and pushed him to the limits. Daniel had to keep his investigation a secret from the villagers and even his family. This isolation negatively affected his emotional health, as he could not trust anyone and had to bear the burden alone. Memories of the horrific events that occurred on the battlefield haunted him. He suffered from nightmares, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Overcoming this psychological trauma was a constant struggle for him. Daniel felt guilty that he had survived the military experience while his fellow soldiers perished. He struggled with feeling responsible for their deaths and questioned the choices he made. Learning about his faked death and erased identity creates an identity crisis for Daniel. He wrestled with questions about his true identity and whether he could ever return to a normal life. Maintaining his dual life as a village farmer and undercover detective was very difficult. He had to constantly juggle his responsibilities, which caused stress and exhaustion. As he gathered allies and confidants on his quest, Daniel had to be careful about who he could trust. Trusting the wrong person could jeopardize his mission and put the villagers in danger. Daniel's dedication to his mission sometimes strained his relationship with his family. His father, in particular, was concerned about the impact the investigation would have on his son's safety and their family life. The constant danger and deception took their toll on Daniel. He had to deal with the fear of discovery by the conspirators and the uncertainty of what lay ahead. Pursuing conspirators often required him to go beyond his physical limits. He had to train and prepare for dangerous missions that took a toll on his body. As he gets closer to the truth, Daniel has to make difficult ethical decisions, including revealing classified information that could harm innocent individuals or exposing sensitive government secrets. Overcoming these personal challenges while uncovering the truth and protecting his village made Daniel's journey even more arduous and emotionally exhausting. It was a testament to his resilience and determination that he continued to face these challenges head-on in his pursuit of justice. As Daniel delved deeper into his investigation to uncover the truth behind the military experiment and the conspiracy involving powerful government officials, he found himself facing a host of harassment and dangers. Government officials determined to protect their secrets were willing to do everything in their power to silence him. Daniel realized that he was under constant surveillance. Unmarked cars, mysterious individuals lurking in the shadows, and even eavesdropping devices in his home made him acutely aware of the watchful eyes of the government. Government agents and workers began to subtly threaten him. He received anonymous letters and letters warning him to abandon his investigation or face dire consequences. These threats left him in a constant state of paranoia. His home has been broken into several times, leaving him feeling violated and unsafe. Files and evidence relating to his investigation were stolen, and it became increasingly clear that someone was determined to prevent him from revealing the truth. Rumors and false accusations spread about Daniel, which tarnished his reputation in the village. He was portrayed as a troublemaker, a conspiracy theorist, and even a criminal, which made it difficult to find allies and support among the villagers. As he got closer to uncovering the plot, the threats escalated. Daniel miraculously survived a car accident that appeared intentional, and he suspected attempts on his life to eliminate him as a threat. While government officials used their influence to initiate legal proceedings against Daniel, accusing him of various crimes, including espionage and treason, these legal battles drained his resources and occupied his time, making it difficult to focus on his investigation. The conspirators used misinformation and propaganda to discredit Daniel and his allies. They manipulated the media and spread false narratives to control the narrative of the military experience and conspiracy. During these critical times for Daniel, government agents infiltrated his group of allies, posing as trusted individuals. These moles threatened to jeopardize the entire operation and put everyone's lives in danger. In a particularly horrific incident, Daniel was kidnapped by unknown individuals. He was detained for several days, interrogated and subjected to physical and psychological torture in an attempt to force him to abandon the investigation. Despite the mounting dangers and harassment, Daniel's determination to uncover the truth and protect his village remained steadfast. He understood that the information he possessed had the power to expose corruption and prevent an even greater catastrophe, and he was willing to risk everything, even his safety, in order to achieve justice. The battle between a lone soldier and powerful government officials becomes a high-stakes life or death struggle that will test the limits of his courage and resilience. As Daniel's investigation into the military experiment and government conspiracy intensifies, he carefully assembles a group of trusted friends and allies from his village. These individuals have shown unwavering support for his cause and are believed to be committed to uncovering the truth. However, as the stakes rose and government harassment became more serious, Daniel faced painful betrayal from within his inner circle. One evening, as Daniel and his allies gathered in a secluded meeting place to discuss their next move, tensions rose. They were aware of the dangers they faced, and paranoia hung over the group. During this meeting, he discovered betrayal. One of his close friends, Michael, whom he had known since childhood, was secretly cooperating with government officials. Michael was providing information about their plans, strategies, and group member identities to the people they were fighting against. His betrayal has put everyone's lives in danger, and their entire operation is in danger. When the betrayal was revealed, Daniel and the rest of the group were devastated. They trusted Michael implicitly, but his betrayal shattered that trust. In an emergency meeting, they made the difficult decision to disavow him from the group and cut off all communications to prevent further leaks. The disavowal was painful for Daniel, as he had to face the fact that his closest friends had not only betrayed their cause, but had also endangered the safety of the entire village. Michael, once a symbol of loyalty and camaraderie, had become an outcast, and the emotional toll of losing a lifelong friend was enormous. Daniel and the remaining members of the group now faced the daunting task of re-evaluating their security procedures, regaining their focus, and recommitting to their mission. They realized that they could no longer afford blind trust and that the risks they faced had doubled. The betrayal was a painful reminder of how far their enemies were willing to go to protect their secrets, and drove Daniel to be more careful and determined in his pursuit of justice. Despite the betrayal, Daniel remained resolute in his mission to uncover the truth and protect his village from the dangerous conspiracy. This experience was a grim reminder that the path to justice was full of obstacles, and that the trust of his allies was something he could never take for granted. Undeterred by his friend's betrayal and determined to expose government officials involved in the military experiment and conspiracy, Daniel decides to continue his mission alone. He understood that he needed to be careful, resourceful, and persistent. After the betrayal, Daniel knew he couldn't trust anyone easily. He became more secretive about his activities and plans, sharing information only on a need-to-know basis. He took extra precautions to ensure he wouldn't be put in danger again. Daniel began to intensify his efforts to collect information on relevant government officials. He used his background as a former soldier to take advantage of military contacts and sources, and to take advantage of any remaining allies still loyal to his cause. Realizing his need to keep a low profile, Daniel used online aliases and encrypted communication channels to communicate with like-minded individuals and gather information about the conspiracy. This has allowed him to maintain anonymity while cooperating with others seeking justice. Daniel meticulously combed through declassified government documents, looking for any clues or references to military experience. He searched through archives, government records, and historical documents, trying to solve the mystery. To get closer to the truth, Daniel posed as a journalist and interviewed former military personnel, whistleblowers, and scientists who might have knowledge of the secret operation. This allowed him to extract valuable information while maintaining cover. Daniel sets up safe houses in various locations, ensuring that he has places to go in case he has to stay away or escape danger. These safe havens were hidden, and only a select few knew of their existence. Aware that he might face physical confrontations, Daniel kept himself physically fit. He continued to practice combat techniques and survival skills to prepare for any immediate threats. While pursuing his mission, Daniel continued to pose as a farmer and remained involved in village life to deflect suspicion. This cover identity allowed him to integrate into society and keep the villagers safe from government retaliation. To evade government surveillance, Daniel has become adept at changing his routines and habits. He constantly diversified his travel routes, communication methods, and activities to make it difficult for anyone tracking him to predict his movements. Daniel remained aware of current events and monitored government actions that might be connected to the plot. Subscribe to international news sources and monitor political developments that could affect his mission. He also sought legal advice to protect his rights and establish a legal defense in the event he is arrested or falsely accused. Having a legal strategy was crucial to its integrity and credibility. Daniel constantly created contingency plans in case of arrest or emergency situations. He had escape routes, emergency communications, and backup resources ready for any unexpected situations. Despite the dangers he faced and the overwhelming difficulties he faced, Daniel's determination to uncover the truth and bring those responsible for the evil scheme to justice led to his relentless pursuit. He realized that the path he chose was risky, but he was committed to protecting his village, uncovering the conspiracy, and making sure those responsible would face the consequences of their actions.